please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome to Business Lunch. I'm Nisha Podar and with me is Sonia Shenoy. Sonia, good afternoon. Hi. So really, the sell-off really continues, but our market is not the only one. In fact, it's the global pressure also, and it's the trend in the global markets also. So screens across the globe in the red, and taking a look at the advance decline as well as the contribution, everything in the red and in the weak territory, Sonia.
Oh yes, weak for sure. We've not seen any kind of major recovery at all through the course of the day. Just bits and pieces here and there. By and large, this market is still reeling under heavy pressure. The Nifty is still down about 260 points. Anuj joins in now to make sense of what's happening. Anuj, even if there's a minor recovery, it's been very feeble. It's gotten sold into, there's just no strength on the upside. You get a sense that the second round of selling could come anytime soon?
Tough to say that, Sonia, but the market is down, but there's no panic reaction. Actually, for last 2 days, the story has been that the market is rewarding you if you are taking an overnight short position. It is not rewarding you after you've seen the US market and then, early in the morning deciding to take a short call. Yesterday through the day, in fact, if you bought in the morning, you would have made money. Today, if you bought in the morning, you would have made money. Overnight, of course, the short positions would have worked. So it's a very difficult market. It's a kind of a market where a lot of non-index, mid-cap stocks are seeing decent recovery. I think, for example, stock like Mahindra & Mahindra Financial is up 10% from the low point. I think there are a lot of stocks that are seeing that I'm seeing which are recovering quite a bit from the low point. In fact, if you take a look at some of the future stocks, there is decent recovery. It's just that you started the advanced decline at about 1:42. So in that case, the recovery also will take time. But just some names like Mindtree, Muthoot. I spoke about M&M Financial, Page Industries, Havels. They've seen decent recovery. The risk is of a second round of selling post 130. On that, the global cues will play an important part. The European futures have recovered and the Dow futures have recovered. So that's interesting. I think last hour could be crucial and we've seen a lot of selling in the global market. So perhaps there's some recovery overnight. So right now, the way to play this is just maybe watch from the sidelines. No fun losing money both ways right now.
Yeah, and it's this slow and painful drop that's actually quite bothersome, right? I mean, if it's a one fell swoop, then at least you know how to react to it. But this could be a bit more protracted, you think? Yeah,
it could be, especially because, the way we made the point yesterday as well, the way HDFC twins have just not recovered in trade. And, HDFC was down, I think, HDFC was down 4% yesterday or thereabout. Today also down 3%. HDFC Bank down about 3.5%. There's been some arbitrage fund selling as well, Sonia. So a tough market. Let's put it that way. When big stocks fall like this, it's obviously a bit tough. But it's not panic market. It's not a market where everyone's just willing to sell their stock and go home. Because as I said, there are a lot of stocks which are trading at high point of the day as well. For example, some of the metal names like JSW Steel, even though it's down about 3%, in the morning it was down about 8%. So it's been quite a bit of recovery. Maruti is trading at high point of the day, even though the stock is down about 2%. So Arvind is trading at high point of the day, even though the stock is down quite a bit. So it's not everything which is down. Today, if you bought in the morning, you are making money as well. Now we're flashing Tata Global, for example. So tough market because overnight you made so much loss. So intraday you're seeing recovery, but obviously in market like these where selling is global in nature, there's always a risk of last hour selling. Let's see.
All right. Thanks so much, Anuj, for giving that perspective. So as Anuj was saying, some bit of recovery. We saw Tata Global Beverages, India Cement, some of the debt-laden companies like even Bhushan Steel has seen a huge amount of recovery in the last half an hour of trade or so. Let's shift focus to the Asian markets, and they plunged on the back of the global sell-off with Nikkei closing down around 5%. And Wall Street, that posted its biggest decline in 6.5 years. However, Dow futures, they show some recovery now and down only about 230 odd points and lower versus over 800 points earlier in the day. So some bit of recovery is seen there, but whatever recovery we are seeing in the overall market, including ours, is not giving the sense that we are on a recovery path. So
Oh yes, in fact, we spoke to a lot of market experts to get a sense of where this mayhem could head and what kind of a sell-off is further in store for the market. Most market experts that we spoke to believe that this is still a bull market correction and there's still a lot of long-term opportunities for investors. Listen in.
We don't have any of these big festering problems that are suddenly manifesting themselves. I think that what happens is what has triggered corrections in the past historically has been a fear about growth, some geopolitical issue, or a fear about inflation. And I think that what we got here is just a little bit of a fear of inflation creeping into the markets, and you get a little bit of a correction. Now, what will distinguish it from, say, a bear market, so if you have a 10% decline, you get a correction, bear market 20% decline, is whether or not those fears become reality. And I don't think that the fear of inflation is going to become a reality that's going to signal that this bear market is over.
The assumption that this is a good old-fashioned correction and has not a lot farther to go in terms of price, I would not make any changes at all. We do need, as everybody's mentioned, to keep a careful eye on inflation. The wage number was troublesome, and that calls into question how many rate increases the Fed might go. Now, we also know that monthly number is a very volatile series, so we'll see how that shakes out. But I would not change my view on the Fed going 3 times this year.
We like places like Brazil, we like Russia, we like Korea. As you know from a previous interview I did with you a few days ago, we're a bit more cautious on India now, but I think we just have to see where the bottom is in the U.S., and frankly, it may not be that far away.
All this chaos, there are definitely some stocks that are recovering from the low point. And you know what? These are all the quality names. So if you look at names like Bajaj Finserv, for example, Ashok Leyland, and these are names that have given you great returns in the bull market. So we are seeing some buying in. Look at Bajaj Finserv. It's now moved to the high point. Ashok Leyland has also moved from the low point of trade. So let's see. Maybe cherry picking is what a lot of the savvy investors are looking at. But since we're talking about savvy investors and traders, let's find out what's happening in the dealing rooms. Nimesh Shah is here with some trader talk. Nimesh, what's the story looking like now? What's the feedback?
Hi, Sonia. So clearly there is some bit of buying for sure, and that too largely from the DIs is what I understand. So that actually supporting some bit of pullback in some of the quality names you rightly pointed out, and especially in the large cap names. But again, still the word is that of caution. I guess in the near term, Indian markets will just mirror as to how the US markets or the global markets rally, and that probably will be the center point to watch out for. Again, in the mid caps and small caps, all through the day, I'm hearing that there are still bids offered in mid and small cap, especially from the PMS investors. So maybe that is a pocket where you'll still see some bit of pain. But from a technical point of view, I guess 10,200, 10,300 as a Nifty is a level to watch. Maybe a pullback. If the global markets see a bit of a pullback, India will also pull back. But again, the texture of the market is changed for the time being from buy the dips to sell into the rallies. So that trend may just continue in the near term. From a flow point of view, though, yes, there is some bit of buying coming from the DIs, especially in the large cap names. But the clear message is one needs to be very, very careful in mid cap and small cap, because that's where the pain may just continue. And maybe a pullback is on the cards, but that will probably get sold into.
All right, Nimesh, thanks so much. And of course, after 1:30, the trade is going to be extremely crucial to see whether there is another round of sell-off or not. Right now, Bank Nifty is leading the chart as far as sell-off is concerned or weakness is concerned. Now, it's not just the equity markets that we're talking about, which is falling. Even the cryptocurrencies are really slipping. Manisha Gupta is right here with more details on that. Tell us, Manisha.
Well, yes, thank you so much for that. After that meteoric rise that we saw in that space in 2017, this year hasn't started so well for this sector as well. So on your screens, as you can see, the last 24 hours have been a lot of pain for this space. More than 20% of decline is what we are seeing across all of those cryptocurrencies, the important ones, that is. Remember, more than 1,500 of virtual currencies are traded in the global markets. The lion's share, of course, is held by Bitcoin, which holds 36% of the global share. The other ones in the line, of course, are Ethereum and Tether, which hold around 16% share. And there are many others which have seen very strong volumes grow in the last many months there. But the reason for the decline really has been the kind of statements, the regulations that the various central banks are trying to put, and that really seems to be pulling these prices down. We have seen increased regulation.
All right, Manisha, I'm so sorry I have to interrupt you. We have the management of Punjab National Bank joining us now. Sunil Mehta is with us, and Lata Venkatesh is also with us to take us through the numbers. Lata, over to you.
Thank you very much for that, Sonia. Mr. Mehta, good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us. Can you first take us through the asset quality picture, sir? We know that it is 57,000 odd crores, and the gross NPA is down to 12.11 from 13.31. I wanted more details such as fresh slippages as well as recoveries and write-offs?
Lata, the
Yes.
fresh additions during this particular 9 months,
Yes.
they have been to the tune of 13,283 crore, as against 18,000 on the corresponding period last financial year.
Okay, so would you have
that
only
way
for
we have been able
Q3?
to curb our fresh slippages.
Sir, if you can give me for Q3 alone, if you have it, the gross and the net slippages, please.
Yes, yes. Yes, I'll give you the both.
Yes.
The gross slippages during the Q3 were to the tune of 5,000, roughly 5,000 crore.
Okay. And there was, that is there a net number?
Out of which fresh slippages were to the tune of 3,800 crore.
Okay. Okay. Would you have some more details?
There are the fresh slippage, and the rest was the yes.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
What type of details you want?
No, I thought you were going to tell me 3,800. Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
3,800 is out of the fresh slippages, and roughly the 1,400 is an increase in the existing NPAs, because wherever the existing NPAs are there, there is a fresh development of the LCs, maybe especially in these LCLT cases. So that also adds up to our NPAs.
I'm a little confused, sir. You know, last time you told us that there is a 3,517 crore slippages. Now, that was also a 6-quarter low. Against that 3,517 in the last quarter, what is the current quarter's slippages?
It's between 3,800 something crores.
All right, got it, got it. Can you give us some more details in terms of write-offs and recoveries?
And write-off and recoveries, if you see the write-off which we have done during the current quarter is roughly 2,100 crore.
Okay.
And recoveries are there to the tune of 1,500 crore.
Okay. 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 Well, can I just move to other things? What is the area where you have seen loan growth? Because you've reported a fairly sturdy loan growth quarter on quarter of over 10%, and I think 17% year on year. So where did the loan growth come from?
If you see our loan book growth, if you see the domestic credit, we have grown by 20% YOY basis. And if you see the global, we have grown by 17%. Out of which the 22% growth has come from retail sector.
Okay.
The 15% growth has come from agriculture sector. Roughly 13% growth has come from MSME sector.
Okay.
And roughly 10% has come from the corporate sector.
Okay. Well, can you tell us how much you have provided for all the NCLT cases, and what more is required in the fourth quarter?
For NCLT cases, in the first list of 11 accounts, we had the exposure of 11,500 crore. We were required to pay an incremental provision of roughly 1,100 crore, 1,100 crore.
Yes, yes.
After which we have already provided up to 850 crore.
Okay.
Now the leftover is 250 crore,
Yes.
which we have to provide during the current quarter.
Okay, okay. And
As regards the second list of NCLT cases,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, as regards the second list of the NCLT cases, we have exposure in 20 cases aggregating 6,500 crore.
And you have.
And out of which we have already provided for 75 crore.
Okay.
Rest of the accounts recently they are yet to be admitted by the NCLT.
Okay. Okay.
And depending upon their status of admissions, and accordingly we'll take a call on that.
Okay. You've got 5,600 odd crore as capital, right? What does your capital adequacy improve?
Yes. Yes, our capital adequacies have substantially gone up. I'll just tell you the numbers. Recently, we have we have increased our capital not only from this government but from the market also. QIP, we have raised the fresh QIP of 5,000 crore during the current financial year, during the current quarter itself. That is and after this, I'll just give you the numbers. So capital adequacy right now as a tier 1 has gone up, and the tier 1 ratios as of December 17 is 9.15%.
Okay, okay. Well, I just wanted to ask you...
Tier 1 ratios has gone up from 9.15.
Okay. So I just wanted a few more numbers. What were the bond losses because of government security or your holdings in bonds in the third quarter? Treasury losses.
In the third quarter, we have lost, yes, so it was basically not the losses but the provisions, because we have to provide for the depreciations.
Yes, sir.
So 1,075 crore, roughly 1,100 crore were the say outcome from our operating profit.
What?
So that we have to provide for this depreciation investment.
Okay. Finally, sir, can you give me what is your excess SLR? Over and above HTM, what do you hold?
Our excess SLR is in the range of 5 to 6%.
Okay. All right. Okay. Do you think that with the capital that you have got, you can continue to give a 10% growth? Or what credit growth do you envisage? Because there are also losses on the bond portfolio to be provided for. Therefore, what kind of a credit growth can you estimate now?
Initially, if you remember the last 2 quarters, we are just going for whatsoever we have given the guidance in the previous 2 quarters. We are maintaining it, or doing it better than that. If you will appreciate that we gave that we will be growing in our credit by 10%. And this time we have far exceeded it, but we still think that we will be able to grow more than 10% during the current quarter itself.
Okay. Yesterday you declared to the exchange that in the Nirav Modi case, you all have incurred some losses. Can you give us some details as to what is the loss that PNB may have to provide for in this case?
Lata, as you already informed to the media, basically this is a letter of undertaking which were fraudulently issued in favor of these corporates by 2 of our employees.
Yes.
And we, the moment this came to our notice, we have promptly, instead of going for any rectification, we said, no, we will promptly take a corrective action, so that a responsible banking attitude we adopt, and clean banking we do, and we immediately took actions against those employees. We have filed an FIR with the CBI. The matter is under investigation. Since it is not a funded exposure for us, other banks must have taken exposures against these LOUs, and we will check up the investigation, what is the type of documents they have, bill documents they have taken for discounting, based on which we will see whatsoever necessary we will do as a responsible corporate governance.
Okay. Is there any likelihood that there will be more such fraud cases that these employees have handled? I mean, we hear that some jewelry accounts have indulged in fraudulent activities. But is there any due diligence that you are doing, any checking?
Yes, the moment it has came to light, we have started investigating. The team, the CBI team is also investigating. Our people are also on the job. We are trying to find out what can be the other transactions. It will be too premature for me to comment on this right now. But we are on the job, and will come out whatever is there. I will try to clean up the things.
All right. We'll leave it at that. Mr. Mehta, just one final question. What are you expecting from the Reserve Bank tomorrow?
Well, everybody is expecting a neutral stance, and maybe we may fall in line.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mehta, for giving us all those details about your Q3 numbers.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Lata. We need to get back to the markets, though. The market, it seems like, is going to be resuming its downtrend. Just want to mention that Apollo Tyres, the numbers just came out a while back. Weak numbers, the profits are down by 17%, and there's a huge fall that we've seen in the European business. The EBITDA is down by about 56% or so. That's all the time we have in Business Lunch. Midcap Radar comes up in just moments from now.